Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I want to welcome all of you to tonight's meeting. And there's been a lot of interest in this particular topic of artificial intelligence. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how AI is transforming project management and how you can leverage AI to achieve better project outcomes. Before we get started, I kind of want to go around the room and find out where you guys are at as far as level of knowledge in artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language models, any of that. So why don't we go around the room and let me know where you guys are at. This table over here, where are you guys are at? Beginner, novice. Okay, great. And the table out here, what is it? Thank you. And this table? Great. And this table. All right. Well, as you see, the average for the room is beginner and novice. And so I think this is a great topic because there's been a lot of movement in 2023 about artificial intelligence and machine learning, as well as large language models. So tonight's discussion and our goal for tonight is to really learn about why there's so much adoption and what other project managers are saying about these technologies. We're going to start with this quote from the godfather of AI, Jeffrey Hinton. He was actually interviewed recently on 60 Minutes, and I would really highly recommend that you watch that particular segment. It's only about 12 minutes, and it's a great interview. But he has said earlier this year that he believes that in 5 years, it may be time for artificial intelligence to actually become much better at reasoning than human beings. And that is a big acceleration of these technologies and where they've been the way they have evolved in the last 50 years. And I think you've seen a lot of acceleration in AI solutions and the integration and adoption, and we're seeing the rise of that adoption right now. So our goal for today, as we're going to be discussing this, is to help you understand why and how artificial intelligence is transforming project management. And we're going to break down tonight's discussion into 3 sections. We're going to talk about the current situation, what's been happening this year specifically, and why has there been such a great acceleration towards adoption. And then we're going to talk about 7 ways that AI is transforming project management. And we're going to do key takeaways, and then we're going to jump into Q&A before we wrap up tonight. So let's jump into the next section of current situation. The number one reason why everybody is interested in adopting AI and machine learning and automation is because there's still so much project failure. Project failure is too high. Those of you that have been in project management for, let's say, greater than 10 years, are you surprised by looking at this report that came out earlier this year from Capterra? Their conclusion was, and this is after they surveyed organizations around the world, is 1 in 4 projects have less than 50% chance to deliver key results on time. This is just not acceptable, and many organizations are looking for ways to solve this, because even though they may have lots of project managers, they're not able to get better at getting better performance and better project outcomes. And just look at the stats. 35% of the people that were surveyed say that half their projects go over their approved budget. 30% say that half their projects miss their deadline. And 26% say that half their projects fail to meet their objectives. So they're either missing out the scope or schedule or the budget or any combination of those 3 things. And that is the essence of project management. Another recent study, a survey report that came out from Capterra as well and was just published last month in August, talks about how project managers are optimistic about AI and adoption is on the rise. Specifically within smaller organizations and mid-market organizations, they are the early adopters. These are commercial companies that are embracing AI as a tool to improve project outcomes. 77% of the people that were surveyed believe that they express optimism about the AI tools that they're using today. And only 8% of surveyed companies have no plans to adopt. What that means is that 92% of SMBs have plans to invest in AI tools and then be able to adopt and be able to train all their workers to actually improve productivity and efficiency. And it's not necessarily about replacing people. It really is about becoming superhuman at what you do through the use of AI applications. And organizations have a clear plan for AI adoption into project-based organizations. The majority of project managers are already using AI or are planning to soon use AI in accordance to this particular survey report. And also, project management early adopters of AI have experienced notable positive benefits about using these tools. 93% of companies believe that they have invested in AI and PM and report that a positive return on investment in the last 12 months. So very quickly, people are becoming more productive and achieving more with the same amount of investment. And organizations are investing in AI-powered software to get better project outcomes. So this is the why and the how people are investing in AI within project management specifically. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the key factors that are driving these particular AI adoptions. And to summarize, this particular survey report talks about these key takeaways. Number one, everyone that has been trying out, all the project managers that were surveyed, have a positive outlook and awareness on these technologies. Also, there's a strong intention to adopt by their organizations, and then organizational familiarity with AI is key in order to get adoption and increase productivity, get better results. Then organizations are planning to invest in more AI tools to actually increase productivity and efficiency. And really, the whole bottom line is that organizations are trying to figure out ways to get better project outcomes, get improved efficiency, time savings, and better outcomes as well. So really, the promise of AI is to empower project managers to accomplish better, faster, cheaper project outcomes. And when it comes to what's been happening in 2023, there's been a lot of talk about large language models. So the question is, which of these three are going to actually win in the marketplace? Well, the answer is not so clear because we're just at the emergence of these particular tools, and they're still immature, but many people are using them in adoption, and they're using them very creatively to do things that they need to do that takes a lot of time, things that don't necessarily add a lot of value to what they're doing to their customers, but it saves them time and allows them to focus more on really satisfying customer needs and desires. So the big three large language models that exist today are Claude, ChatGPT, and Bard. ChatGPT being the largest and the one that has the most usage and the one that has gotten a lot of press in the news in the last 12 months. Bard is actually a Google product. It's the equivalent of ChatGPT, but it's a Google product. And then Claude is also a large language model that came together and is basically learning that the data sets that ChatGPT used at the very beginning had a lot of misinformation. And so Claude took the ability to take large data sets and then be able to remove any misinformation and only leave the things that are high quality, high value type of data sources. And that's what they built their learning language model on. And these are the top three. A large language model, by the way, if you are wondering what it is a type of AI that can generate and understand text, queries, and are trained on massive data sets of text and code, and they can be used for a variety of tasks, including text generation, large language translation, answering questions for just about anything, and code generation. And they're still under development. All three of these are today still in beta, but also some of them are publicly available, like ChatGPT. They're still considered paid beta versions at this point. They're not fully baked, but lots of people are using them and benefiting just from using the beta. So we expect a huge acceleration in the way that these particular models it will improve over time because they're learning. And every time somebody types in a query, they're learning what is the right answer and how to actually improve their responses. And that comes out in seconds. So it allows people to really shorten the time to ideate, discover new things that normally would take a lot of time to do multiple queries. These are all things that you can do with these large language models very quickly. And it's important to note that the number of users is not the only measure of, of the popularity or success of any of these models, but other factors such as the quality of the output and the range of tasks that can perform are also important. And all three of these are fairly equivalent today. So the question is, will one of these win, or will all of them remain in market because they will actually have and find relevance? We're going to talk about that next. So we're going to shift into we just went over the current situation for 2023. Now we're going to talk about 7 ways AI is transforming project management. And this will come from having done some queries, and we actually use, full disclosure, we use a Bard for Search Chrome extension, which is available for free today. And it uses Google search, and it does queries. You can type in your prompt or your query, and it comes out with the regular query results that you find when you're doing any Google search. But on the side, on the right-hand side, there's a sidebar that comes out where Bard gives you the answer of what they already know because they have already accessed information that is currently available and gives you a great summary based on any query that you have. It actually saves a lot of time when I'm actually doing or have to do multiple queries in order to have some facts that I need for putting together a presentation such as the one today. And so this entire presentation, including the topic description and the outline and even the content, was done through a series of queries using Bard for Search. So for full disclosure, this is information. And yes, I had to do some validation, but very quickly I was able to find information to validate the information that I'm about to discuss with you. So the first way that AI is transforming project management is that there are now tools that provide enhanced task prioritization. So AI assistants that can analyze task parameters when you're using a project management tool and looks at things like deadlines, dependencies, and resource availability to intelligently prioritize tasks. And this helps project managers to focus on the most important tasks first and to avoid any kind of bottlenecks. And you can do that in seconds. And often it gives you recommendations. And then as a project manager, you make decisions as to which one is the best option once you have gone through the further analysis. But if it's a very quick way to look at all the different situations and options, and then do what if analysis after to be able to discern and be able to come up with the best way to prioritize tasks when something has changed. Motion is one of these tools, and Motion is actually it's an app that is already available. Yes, there are project managers that are actually using it. Most of the ones that I find using this are project managers working in different industrial sectors within commercial companies. And this is a web application that is available. So Motion is a project and time management platform that uses AI to help customers prioritize tasks. And it uses AI to sort, prioritize, and schedule tasks and automate all of this functionality. And Motion aims to take away the significant pain of of having to do this task in traditional platforms such as Microsoft Project and others that are out there and have been around for some time. By the way, I want to point out, all 7 of these are 21st century project management tools. And that's something to be said because most applications that I've seen right now deployment even in large enterprise organizations, public or private, tend to be last century project management tools. They've been around for a long time. They're not integrated. And that is the problem when you have many different projects to manage as a project manager, and you may be stuck being managing projects in a hybrid environment, meaning some of the projects that you're managing are waterfall and others are agile. And these tools are, for the most part, can handle any combination of these projects when you're managing projects. Number two, automated resource allocation. AI can also, and AI enabled applications can also help you assess requirements and the unique skill sets of team members to automate matching resources, people to tasks and activities that need to get done. And this saves you, the project manager, a lot of time because you don't have to be asking around. Everything has been already gathered. Information is being gathered about the people and your team members ahead of time. And that information is available to this particular tool. And it accounts for that when it looks at the type of task or activity that you need and the number and the skill sets of resources that you need in order to get the job done. So this helps you as a project manager save time, and it helps you ensure that the right people are working on the right tasks. So I want to ask a question. How many of you have been in an environment where you're looking for resources and then you ended up either assigning a wrong person to the right task or assigning the right person to a task that doesn't really match their skill sets? Raise of hands. Believe me, I've been there, done that, and I can tell you that it's not necessarily the best situation. And now you're trying to play catch up when you end up in this situation. This helps you avoid that type of risk where you know that the resources that are about to become available may have certain skill sets, and very quickly it will assess which is the resource that best fits the type of activity and task that you need to start allocating resources for. And it actually helps you do this quite rapidly. Ayansa is another one of these applications that does this type of work. It has AI built into it to help in doing this type of automated resource allocation to match the people's skills with the tasks that need to be started. And Ayansa is a cloud-based project management application that uses AI to assess requirements and skill sets and automate the matching of those things and allow you to plan and track and execute projects more efficiently. And it's a great time saver. So if you haven't tried it out, it's publicly available and you can actually start using it. Most of these tools that I'm going to talk about have either free trials, time-based, or have some sort of way that you can actually start an individual plan very affordably and start trying things out on your own for individual projects. Once you find that it works well within a project, then you can start expanding onto other projects from there. Adaptive scheduling is another capability that these AI-enabled tools have. And this allows you to monitor progress and identify potential risk factors and delays. And it can help you generate updated schedules to look at different what-if scenarios. And it allows you to start looking at ways to rearrange the schedule without impacting the overall delivery of major milestones. And it allows you to keep projects on track and to avoid costly rework often. Asana is one of these tools that does this. It's actually a tool that allows you to do this type of work very quickly. It helps you identify tasks and identifies potential risks. So it helps you in assessing and identifying risk factors, and then starts looking at all the what-if scenarios as to how you can reduce or eliminate those risk factors that you have. And it helps you generate an updated schedule that takes these factors into consideration and helps you to avoid delays to deliver projects on time and within budget. The fourth way that these tools are helping project managers is to provide seamless team collaboration. How many of you are working in environments where you're actually working with multinational teams, project members that are scattered across countries? This is a very typical scenario for most mid-market software companies because for a long time, they've been doing all their development, for the most part, happens outside of US. They may be headquartered, companies that are headquartered and doing selling web-based applications, software applications here in US, but all their development is done somewhere else. So typically, and I've actually worked for these companies where I'm a product manager for a US-based company, and I'm actually managing development being done in areas like Ukraine and Russia and India, Indonesia, Malaysia, you name it. Eastern Europe, there's a lot of great talent available, and you have the efficiency of cost reduction because you're paying well, great talent, but for the most part, you're not paying them what they would be as if they were living here in the US. So there's a lot of cost savings in doing that. And software companies have been doing this for a long time. And yes, they've been adopting a lot of agile, and their scrums tend to be virtual or hybrid. I'm running hybrid meetings all the time. And the issue with that is when you have multinational project team members, their English is never their first language, right? When you're in this situation, and you have a huge difference in time zones. So just trying to get everybody together in one time slot is really hard. But besides that, there's other problems. Let's say that you do agree on a time slot and a day of the week or days of the week to meet on an ongoing basis. And now you're trying to communicate with them, and then you're trying to take notes at the same time. How many of you have been in that situation and you find out that it's really awkward because often you have to find that you are repeating yourself because people don't really understand what you're telling them. And then when you're asking them to feedback what they heard, they're having a hard time enunciating, and often they may not get it. It may take several times before they actually achieve. That's delay in trying to get the meeting wrapped up. Things that are just inefficiencies in trying to get the meeting done so that people can move on and do the work that you agreed that they need to do. So there's this application that can facilitate communication and collaboration between team members when these are multinationally dispersed that speak different languages, because the app itself can translate different languages in real time, can transcribe meetings in real time, and automate tasks such as sending reminders, notifications, and generate reports to you as a project manager. And you can automate who gets this information, because this information goes back to the team members so that yet now you can focus on keeping them accountable on the action items that were reviewed and then assigned before the meeting wrapped up. So Microsoft Viva is one of these applications that was built by Microsoft, and it was tested by Microsoft product managers doing this type of development that I'm talking about, because all software companies, including Microsoft, do the same thing that I spoke about earlier. They have multinational development teams. They speak different languages. And now this particular app, during a video conference, is doing live translation and live captioning in the native language of each and every team member. And I don't have to repeat myself. I can say things one time. They're actually listening to me in English, but then reading the captions in their native language. And then they're responding, and I'm seeing the captions. If they're responding in their native language, I'm seeing the captions of what they're saying in English. And this entire thing is being recorded. And then there's also transcription, automatic transcription, and all the speech to text and the translation and the transcription are all backed by AI. So the accuracy of doing this in a live environment is second to none. So I would really recommend that if you are in an environment where you're working on scrums of multinational team members that speak different languages, try this out and use this to do and run all of your meetings. And this particular app, because it's by Microsoft, it works well with Microsoft Teams. So those of you that are using Microsoft Teams and having this problem should be using Microsoft Viva. By the way, Microsoft has this application available as an add-on to Office 365. So if you already have Office 365 today, more than likely you're using Microsoft Teams to run your meetings. You can add on Viva and be able to do what I just talked about earlier, and should be trying it out. It's amazing how you can get. I'm actually using other third-party apps that do this. Otter.ai is one of them. Otter is OTTER.ai. It does transcription and captioning of meetings. It records video and audio separately, and it uses those to create an automatic transcript. So it takes notes for you, and then it gives you an automatic summary. There's another tool that is newer that is actually much more accurate. It works with any third-party video conferencing application, including Teams and Zoom and others, all the major ones. It is called Fireflies.ai. And this particular application does exactly the same thing as Otter. It just does it more accurately and more intelligently because the AI behind it is much more sophisticated, as it's a newer product, and have algorithms that are more modern, doing all of these things that they do. So they can transcribe automatically and create a transcript, and also gives you automatically notes. Within minutes of wrapping up the meeting, you have the notes, and you can send the link to the notes where people can either play back the recording, a video recording, or play back the audio recording, and or jump to specific portions because they can read the transcript and then jump to the portion that talks about the relevant part that they're most interested in. So if you do this and you're actually assigning action items, you don't have to write any notes. What I do when I use these tools is I send out notifications, and I include the link saying, watch the recording and track your action items, because I will be asking you for status at our next meeting. And that's what I end up doing. And I will then update my in my tools, if I don't have one that automatically can read the transcript and then generate notifications and reminders, I will then do that. But that's a lot less cumbersome because now I can still review those transcripts and then start logging in notifications and reminders about the action items that were just assigned during the meeting, and make sure that we're getting status on an ongoing basis once they are assigned. So this is a great tool. I would highly recommend that you would use any of these tools in order to capture any kind of video conferences meetings when you're actually doing this. And they work great as well when you're doing hybrid meetings as well. And number 5, virtual AI assistants. There are applications where now they come with some sort of avatar that is a chatbot or a web bot, and you can either text and it responds, or you can talk to it and it responds back. That's the level of sophistication of these virtual AIs. It acts like another person is inside a meeting when you're attending a video conferencing meeting, and it will actually give you recommendations very quickly. So you can make decisions in almost real time as you're trying to make decisions. And it gives you a variety of ways that you can make decisions on tasks, on scheduling meetings, on tracking deadlines, getting status, and then imagining risk factors that it identifies. And it really frees you up as a project manager to really focus on the most important work. Yes, at times you're going to have important and urgent tasks to take care of. Those are really what I would consider fires, and you need to be doing firefighting. But for the most part, this frees you up from doing all that type of work to handle the firefighting that you need to do, and then start focusing that time really on the more strategic work that needs to get done as well. The stuff that is important but not urgent. And I find that these tools are great at freeing me up and being able to then focus on the important and not urgent things that need to get done as well. So ClickUp.ai. ClickUp is one of these software tools that has been around. They just added their AI assistant, and it's called ClickUp AI. So with this virtual assistant, it provides project managers with support on a variety of tasks that includes scheduling meetings and tracking deadlines, managing risks, and it also gives you the ability to talk about specific needs of project managers when they need to make decisions. And it can help you do task reallocation or resource allocation, reallocation, and send meeting invitations and reminders automatically, and then track deadlines and send notifications and alerts to everyone in the team when things need to be set up or reminders need to be set up. And it helps you really keep things on track as committed. So it saves you a lot of time and also allows the team to really stay ahead of the game and gives you a way to manage in a much more effective way. The number 6, data-driven decision insights. This is basically the ability to analyze project information and identify that of projects over time. So you would have basically a database of projects and everything that has been done within the organization. You can feed that into this. It ingests, runs analytics, identifies trends and patterns, and then allows you to start now looking at scenarios that are of interest because something is about to happen. It really gives you an early warning detection system that says you've got to watch out for this because the trend has been in the past to do this, and here's what the way it ended up, and allows you to start making better decisions about how to go about planning and executing and eliminate or reduce risk factors that are normally part of what has been happening within the organization in previous projects. And so it really allows you to really learn from somebody else's mistakes and really moves those lessons learned over time and gives them to you at the right in front of you as you're looking at ways to effectively achieve the right outcomes in the project that you're managing today. So Rike is one of these tools, and Rike is a cloud-based project management platform that helps teams of different sizes be able to plan, track, and execute work, and offers a wide range of features, including task management, time tracking. It automatically updates and generates Gantt charts in addition to Kanban boards. So this tool allows you to be managing waterfall and agile projects at the same time. So if you're working in a hybrid organization that runs both type of projects, this is a tool that supports both projects as well and allows you to really run them effectively. And this particular, all of these tools that I'm talking about are available, and you can actually try them before you decide which one is best that fits what you're doing within your organization. Number 7, optimize cost management. Those of you that are tracking costs because you have lots of suppliers and lots of requests for submissions and maybe tenders for the supply chain, and you're doing supply chain management on the back end of things, this allows you to start looking and keep tracking to make sure the efficiency of your budget is being met. And being able to say, whatever we planned, this is what we're going to be executing, and make sure that if there's any diversions from that at least you know why and that it's needed because something has changed. But at least it allows you to identify the tasks that are taking longer than expected and identify resources that are not being used efficiently so that you can start doing resource allocation and reallocation when needed in order to accelerate things when they need to be accelerated and maybe wrap up things early and move those resources to do something else instead very quickly. In construction, there are 2 applications that kind of work side by side together, Procore and Pipe. Procore is a cloud-based application that actually is for construction companies. And if you have worked as a construction project manager, you know that in that world, there are construction companies, and then there are general contractors and subcontractors, right? And when you have a large construction project, such as building a mall or a building or a set of buildings or neighborhood that it has multi-use type of development, commercial and also residential, you end up with a large project and you need to have and track everything that goes on between construction companies and the general contractors and subcontractors. Procore is really a tool for construction project managers that work for construction companies, the ones that have to submit tenders and track those tenders that are submitted to local and county, local governments for projects. Sometimes even federal government is involved in some of these larger projects. and they track all of that. And once they are capturing, they're now creating additional RFPs for general contractors and their subs. And that's what Procore Strength is all about. It allows you to start managing all of this all in one platform. Pipe is really more of the same kind of tool, but it's really for general contractors and their subcontractors. Both tools have great cost planning and management solutions that allow construction companies and contractors to track their spend and be able to ensure that they stay within budget and they can still deliver the projects, the construction that they're working on time and on budget. And that's the way that these tools are used. So it's not one or the other. It's actually, in most cases, when you have a large construction company that has their own general contractors on the inside, and then they tend to farm out more contracts in different locations to outside general contractors, they actually are running both software applications next to each other. Procore and Pipe work together, they're well integrated, and they can play together well. And it actually gives you a lot of efficiencies in the way construction companies work with general contractors and other types of contractors. So the key takeaways of all this is that we are just entering the age of AI, and it really applies to how are you going to leverage that as a project manager? AI is already transforming project management, as we saw from the survey report that was published in August of this year. And it's organizations that are willing to invest on these AI-powered applications to optimize project management to be able to reduce or eliminate just getting bad results. Project failure is what you're trying to avoid as a whole, regardless of whether you're running waterfall or agile projects or any combination of those things. You're trying to improve project success rates. And as we mentioned earlier, the track record is there's still, even in the 21st century, there's still a lot of project failure. And some of these tools are rapidly evolving, so you need to be an early adopter because it can only make you and empower you to become a superhuman project manager. It allows you to make decisions faster, better, cheaper, to get faster, cheaper, and better outcomes in your projects, the projects that you're managing. So with that, we're going to get into Q&A, but I also want to talk about announcements. And the first announcement is we are going to have an online town hall meeting. We announced it earlier. That's on Thursday, October 19th, 7 p.m. via Zoom. It's completely free for you. And we're actually going to be talking about how to build and grow a thriving PMI chapter. This is a way that we're going to be able to engage all chapter members and then be able to discern what exactly are you looking for. If you just joined, what are you looking for? What kind of experience are you expecting from the chapter? And what are the different areas of interest that you have where you would need either support or that you would like to encourage others and maybe share your experience and your insights with others who are also chapter members. And for this particular one that's coming up, it'll be 90 minutes. It'll be 1.5 free PDUs. It's free to sign up. This entire thing is on Eventbrite, so you can register on Eventbrite using the short link that you see here on this slide. And once you sign up, you'll get reminders and also the link, the Zoom link to attend. And when you attend, you will get the information as to how you can get your 1.5 PDUs that are Power Skills PDUs. And we're actually going to have a panel discussion where our guest panelists are past presidents in the last 20 years of the history of the chapter, including Adam Nelson, Kuema Ledbetter, and Marcus Parker. I will be moderating this particular discussion, and it's free for you to attend. So if you're free, it's online, it's on Zoom, and we're looking to get your feedback as to what is it that you're expecting. And if our chapter has a North Star metric of delivering the best member experience, bar none, to any other chapter that is in this area. What does that mean to you? And let us know, because we're looking for your feedback so that we can then implement changes in the way that we're going to be running and organizing activities in 2024. So if you're looking for opportunities to either get involved as volunteers, or you're looking for opportunities to grow professionally, maybe network and connect with people, these are all the things that you can do by not only participating, but also perhaps even volunteering to do some of the things that you're interested in doing, and be able to connect with other chapter members and do all of this. So sign up for this. It's free, and it's happening next Thursday, October 19th at 7 p.m. online. For those of you who are into QR codes instead of short links, you can actually pick up your phones, take a picture of this, and go to the Eventbrite page, register today. We want to make sure that you can show up and be there and be able to get your feedback about your expectations about what you want to get out of being a chapter member. So with that, we're going to go into Q&A, but also wanted to let you know this entire discussion is being recorded. I'm going to be sharing it with all of you who are here, and I'm going to send you a link to a post-event page where you have the embedded video that you can watch the recording, but also all of the slides that I showed today, as well as references and much more information that is more detailed that I did not have the time to go into, unfortunately, but I do want to focus on questions that you might have regarding this discussion. And if you're interested in leveraging your AI or your career, bulletproof your career using AI, let me know, because this is something that I'm planning on doing, and possibly a future presentation at an upcoming chapter meeting when the next opportunity arises. So I want to show of hands, how many of you would like to learn how to leverage AI tools that are now available, just became available in the last 12 to 18 months. These are brand new AI-powered tools for job seekers that can help you bulletproof your career and perhaps look for your next dream role in project management or whatever it is that you want to do next. How many of you are interested in, would be interested in this talk? Raise of hands. Okay, good. So it looks like VP of programs, whoever that is, I'm going to be working on that and possibly look for those dates. So be sure to reach out. By the way, if you contact me via my email, if you email me or follow the short link at the bottom of the slide, it goes to my LinkedIn profile. Connect with me if you're not already connected with me on LinkedIn, and let me know you are here. And I will also share with you the link to the post-event page where this entire slide deck will be available to you for viewing, and also the recording of today's discussion, and also other references that I've captured, because I have actually logged everything that I did in order to come up with this presentation so that you can look deeper if that's what you're interested in doing. Maybe dig deeper into some of these tools, maybe try to turn them on as a free trial and see how they work for you based on what you're doing today. So with that, we can actually go into questions. So yes, question. All right. So one of the questions is, how do I know that these tools actually work? Well, that's a great question, because I mentioned earlier, I did do a series of queries and I used BART for search as which is a Chrome extension available for free. And I found all of this information online. So who's to say that it's actually not just fiction, vaporware? Well, what I did is I know how to go to portals that give user reviews for software applications like the ones that I spoke about earlier. G2 is one of these portals. G2.com is one of these portals that you can go and you can actually do searches, and you can actually do a query of project management tools. And you'll get a list of the ones that have been rated highly on a scale from 1 to 5 stars, and the ones that have 4.5 stars or even higher are usually the ones that are in the top 10, top 15 of any category of software application that you're looking for. G2 is one of these portals. It's available for free, and they often get lots of users. And what you want to do is you want to look for applications that not only have a high rating by their users, but they also have lots of reviews, not just a few reviews, but just a lot of reviews, like a few hundred reviewers that people have done over time. That's how you know the tools have been around for some time and that they have a significant number of users today. And many of them are so happy with those tools that they have taken the time to rank them and give their feedback to other users who are considering adopting the tools that are already available. I did that check for every one of these particular software applications that I spoke about, and I made sure that they were rated and ranked high by their users today. And I looked also for the high number of users to come up with the applications that I spoke about earlier today. So that's a great question, because fair warning, I mentioned earlier, these large language models are still in their infancy. And at the very beginning, this was happening with ChatGPT, for example, where early people were publishing, based on their queries and their prompting, what they were doing, the responses just had a lot of errors, right? And these errors are called hallucinations, where they're presenting something as a fact. And then when you're actually digging deeper, you find that it's nowhere to be found. It's not credible information, and it's not information that is validated anywhere, right? So that was one of the early problems with ChatGPT and also with Bard. But I think Bard came in after ChatGPT was initially released almost 12 months ago now. Bard came, and Google did a much better job of filtering out all the misinformation that is out there and only leaving the stuff that is credible and reputable and validated. And I think Bard does a lot better job at actually giving you a summary of what's available in the internet, and it already filters out things that you don't want. And what I've learned to do in my prompting or my querying when I'm doing queries is say, go to these particular websites, and I actually name the websites because I know they have credible information. And I say, and give me a summary of this. And that's how I validate a lot of my queries, a lot of my prompts. I validate them, and I make sure that I go and trace the information that I'm given. And that's what I had to do here. Bottom line is that I was able to develop this entire presentation that you're seeing today in maybe about a third of the time that I normally take when I'm starting from scratch. And this is my first time actually doing this, but I found lots of information very quickly. I was able to go through and say, yes, I want to include this point, I want to include this point, and then summarize. And I used ChatGPT and Bard both to create the outline and the slides and the summary, and just make sure that I have clarity in my delivery. And that's what I ended up doing. And you tell me and give me feedback as to how you like this particular presentation. But this is what I was able to do with these large language models that are still in their infancy. And by the way, these are absolutely free today. I don't have any of the paid versions of any of these tools. I just have the beta versions that are publicly available today. And that all you need to do is sign up and start using them. And you can start really getting a lot of value out of using them pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, what I did in this particular methodology that I followed, I'm very much adamant about capturing the query and the response because they tend to change over time. So as I did the development, and throughout the development of this particular presentation, I actually kept a different document of the prompts or the queries that I submitted and the response that I got. And I basically have a document of almost, I think it's almost 20 pages long. So I'm going to share that as a downloadable PDF from the post-event page that where you'll see the recording, the slides, and then you can also download that so that you can try out the same queries if you want, see what responses you get. You might get slightly different queries now that I've done all this additional work, and these tools learn a lot and possibly will give you even better, more accurate, or maybe more enhanced, deeper information when you're doing the same type of queries. So I would recommend that you take that document and you try this out on your own. And you can do this with any of the 3 large language models that I spoke about earlier: Claude, Bard, and ChatGPT as well. How many of you are being encouraged or prohibited from using any of the tools that I spoke about? Raise of hands. Wow. Look around. This is happening, right? When you're working for a laggard organization, which tend to be large organizations that tend to be public or private, they're very bureaucratic and usually not early adopters. So what I would say, where do you want to be 3 to 5 years from now as a project manager? And if the answer is you don't want to be in that environment where you're in right now, I would say you're unhappily employed. What I would tell you is if you want to find your next opportunity, you need to start adopting these AI enhanced tools and start seeing the value. Because if you really want to go out there and start going to a much more dynamic environment, a company where you really can make a difference and use your project management superpowers to make a difference, I would say you need to become a superhuman project manager by trying these tools that have AI behind them, helping you make better decisions faster so you can deliver project outcomes, the right project outcomes at the right time to the right stakeholders. And these are all things that are not automatic when you've been in project management as long as I have. So you want to make sure that if you really want to stay in project and you know that you're not in the right environment, that you need to do something, I would seriously consider reskilling and upskilling yourself. AI is the number one type of skills that you need to gain when you're trying to gain digital skills. And right now, there's an enormous amount. The majority of commercial companies today, as we learned from that survey report that I spoke about earlier today, there's a high number of adoptions that are small and mid-market companies. They're not large enterprise, but they're small mid-market companies. They're the ones that are right now adopting these tools. So if you ever would consider working for a mid-market company as a project manager, you need to learn the tools that they already are using today. So that's my point to you. It's about finding ways to prepare yourself and start bulletproofing your career for the future. So with that, I'd like to just kind of wrap up. I want to thank all of you for being here and actually asking all these questions. I'm going to stick around for a few more minutes and ask, so you can come up and ask any more questions. I'll be here, but I'll be wrapping this up. And I would encourage you to either connect with me on LinkedIn or email me after the fact. If you're listening to this recording, feel free to reach out. If you are looking to get more deeper and you need some help, I'm going to put a lot of resources on that page. If you want to get even deeper or you have questions that I did not get to answer, feel free to reach out to me. I will respond to you and maybe just point you in the right direction, maybe set up the time where we can do a one-on-one. And do let me know if you're interested in attending a topic like how to leverage AI to bulletproof your career in order to prepare yourself to find your next dream role as a project manager. Thank you so much. It's been great. And thanks everyone on this chapter for inviting me to be here. And thank you so much for participating in today's discussion. Take care and have a great rest of your week.